In 1957, at the height of the Cold War, the space race was capturing the world's attention. But deep in the shadows, another brutal geopolitical battle was being fought on Earth. The superpower that could conquer and map the interior of Antarctica would claim dominance over the planet's final unexplored frontier. The Soviet Union set its sights on the most hostile spot on the globe, the southern pole of inaccessibility. This is not just the South Pole. It is the point on the Antarctic continent that is furthest from any ocean. It is a frozen desert elevated nearly 4,000 meters above sea level. Here, air pressure is dangerously low, winds scream at 100 miles per hour, and temperatures routinely drop below minus 70 degrees Celsius. At these extremes, physics begins to behave differently. Standard military transport trucks failed instantly. Rubber tires cracked like brittle glass under the slightest pressure. Standard lubricants turned into a thick, useless tar, seizing gears completely. Even the high-grade steel used in conventional chassis became so brittle that hitting a hard ridge of ice would cause the metal to snap clean in half. The Red Army quickly realized that traditional winter logistics were useless. To survive this white hell and establish a permanent research station, Soviet engineers didn't just need a better truck. They needed a radical, unprecedented machine. They needed a moving fortress that could tear through the ice while keeping men alive for months without any external support. In 1958, the assignment was handed to the legendary Kharkov tractor plant in Ukraine. The engineers were given just a few months to design and build a monster. The result of their frantic, brutalist engineering was a machine that defied belief. They called it the Kharkovchanka. When the first Kharkovchanka rolled out of the factory, it looked less like a vehicle and more like a massive orange diesel-punk submarine placed on heavy military tracks. Weighing nearly 30 tons, it was an absolute behemoth. To crawl over the soft, treacherous Antarctic snow without sinking, engineers stripped the tracks from the massive ATT military artillery tractor. They widened the steel tracks to an incredible 1 meter, ensuring that despite its immense weight, the machine exerted very little ground pressure. But it was the internal architecture that showed the true genius and recklessness of Soviet design. In the polar regions, stopping a vehicle to fix a mechanical problem outside is a death sentence. In a minus 70-degree blizzard, exposed skin freezes solid in less than 60 seconds. Tools stick to bare hands, ripping away flesh. If a drive belt snapped or a fuel filter clogged on a traditional vehicle, the crew would freeze to death before they could finish the repair. To solve this, the designers at Kharkov did something radical. They placed the entire engine directly inside the living cabin. The heart of the Kharkovchanka was a massive 1,000 horsepower, supercharged V12 diesel engine, derived from the power plants used in Soviet T-54 tanks. By enclosing this mechanical giant inside the insulated hull, the crew could perform heavy maintenance, change oil filters, and repair fuel lines in their shirt sleeves, completely shielded from the deadly storms raging just inches away on the other side of the steel walls. The ambient heat radiating from the engine block was also harnessed, running through an intricate system of pipes to provide central heating for the entire structure. The cabin of the Kharkovchanka was a self-contained ecosystem designed for 8 men to live, work, and survive for up to 6 months in total isolation. The outer hull was built from light sheets of duralumin, but the insulation was where the engineering became incredibly complex. To fight the penetrating polar cold, the walls were packed with 8 distinct layers of glass wool, sealed with airtight seals, and lined with a heavy, specialized synthetic nylon fabric. Inside this 20-square-meter steel box, space was utilized with absolute precision. It featured a compact living quarters with 4 double-tiered bunks, a small but functional kitchen equipped with an electric stove that melted snow into drinking water, a high-powered long-range radio station, a tiny bathroom, and a fully equipped navigation and scientific laboratory. To allow the scientists to navigate through whiteout conditions where visibility was zero, the vehicle was equipped with a periscope that extended through the roof, allowing the driver to steer using astronomical coordinates when magnetic compasses failed near the pole. However, As the first expedition pushed deep into the Antarctic interior, the brilliant design revealed a catastrophic, suffocating flaw. As the Kharkovchankas climbed higher onto the polar plateau, the elevation reached nearly 12,000 feet. The air became thin, starved of oxygen. To keep the massive tank engine running, the superchargers had to work at maximum capacity, burning massive amounts of diesel fuel. Under this extreme stress, the mechanical seals isolating the engine block from the living quarters began to degrade. Gaskets cracked under the intense vibration of crawling over rugged ice waves known as sastrugi. Suddenly, toxic exhaust fumes, unburnt diesel mist, and deadly carbon monoxide began leaking directly into the enclosed living space. The air inside became thick, black, and choked with soot. The crew was caught in a horrifying engineering trap. If they opened the small hatches to vent the deadly gas, the interior temperature would instantly plummet by 80 degrees, freezing their equipment and risking hypothermia. If they kept the hatches closed, they would slowly suffocate from carbon monoxide poisoning. Accounts from the survivors of those early expeditions describe men taking turns standing near the driver's periscope just to breathe a mix of freezing air and diesel exhaust, their faces covered in black soot, fighting severe headaches and nausea while driving for 16 hours straight through the endless white void. Despite the suffocating air, the mechanical breakdown of seals, and the sheer psychological terror of the isolation, the Kharkovchankas did what they were built to do. In December 1959, a convoy of these massive orange monsters successfully reached the South Pole, covering over 2,700 kilometers of previously untraveled deadly ice. They proved that heavy, brutalist engineering could conquer environments that Western explorers thought were impassable for land vehicles. The machines were so rugged that a second upgraded generation, the Kharkovchanka II, was built in the 1970s, correcting the engine isolation flaws and serving the Arctic and Antarctic stations well into the late 20th century. Today, as the modern world relies on lightweight carbon fiber, satellite navigation, and advanced climate-controlled vehicles, a few of these original 30-ton Soviet giants still sit silently in the deep snows of Antarctica. Covered in frost, their orange paint fading under the harsh polar sun, they remain frozen monuments to a historical era. An era when engineering wasn't clean, elegant, or safe, but raw, brutal, and absolutely unstoppable. If you found this deep dive into Cold War military engineering and winter survival technology fascinating, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel and drop a comment below on what you think of this brutalist engineering. Thanks for watching, and stay warm out there.